when I'm broken.
Heals me when I'm broken.
Give strength where I've been weak.
Where I've been weak.
Forever He'll reign.
Forever He will reign.
Come on, say, my God is awesome.
My God is awesome.
He can move mountains.
He can move mountains.
Keep me in the valley.
Keep me in the valley.
Hide me from the rain.
Hide me from the rain.
Hello, my friend. I'm Gloria Mitchel with good news for you. Good news to let you know that even if it's a delay in whatever it is that you're expecting, whatever the blessing is that you desire of the Lord, hold on, it's coming, because God is never late. He's an on-time God. And so today I have a guest with me whose name is Essie Dillon. Essie Dillon is a member, was a former member or retiree from the Army Corps of Engineers. And so I'm going to talk with her today about the timeliness in her getting the honor that's due her for serving her country. So Essie, would you please tell us now about growing up, first of all, in Mississippi? Tell us where you're from.
I was born February 6, 1929, when the stock markets crashed in Franklin County, Meadville, Mississippi. And I was born 14 miles out of town on a farm, and what they call the cotton fields of Mississippi. And I stayed there until I was a teenager. And my daddy got a job in New Orleans at the shipyard in World War II in 42. But in 29, until then, we had to raise cotton, corn, had a garden. We had to raise our hogs, milk the cows. We didn't have no money to shop in town, no money to pay a doctor bill. And so we used Mother Nature and used pink root tea and all of that stuff, until my daddy got a job in New Orleans and moved us to town.
Okay, now I want to ask this. This is about you going into the Army. How is it that you ended up, first of all, did you go to school?
We went to school in the country. We had a country school to take us to the 8th grade.
To the 8th grade, and then what?
And then, if your parents couldn't send you nowhere else, that's as far as you went, because we had no money to pay for college.
But your situation was different, right?
My situation was, I grew up in the country, and everybody had permission to whip you. The teachers had switches, the neighbors and everybody else could whip you, and you didn't talk back to grown people. You just did what they said do.
Okay, but I want to know how you got to high school.
Oh, how I got to high school is we lived 35 miles from Natchez, Mississippi. In the town I grew up, there was no black elementary schools, high schools, and nothing. And we went to little elementary school at the church.
Okay, but high school, though?
High school, Mama paid. For the first year, I stayed with a black dentist and his wife, and she paid. And then by that time, her sister moved to Natchez, Mississippi, and I stayed with my Aunt Neva for the rest of the time. And Mama would give her money to take care of me.
Did you graduate from high school?
I graduated in 1948 with the second highest honors, salutatorian.
Salutatorian. I know what that's like. I was salutatorian of my class as well. Well, then, how did you end up in the Army?
Oh, Mama sent me to Jackson State College, the capital, Mississippi. And after that first year, I went home and asked Mama, could I join the Army? I'd found out about the Women's Army Corps. And her nephew said, Aunt Anna Jane, don't let that gal join the Army. She'd just be there for the convenience of the men. You bring you a lot of babies. And my mother would not sign. But when I went back for the second semester, I had turned 18, and I signed myself in the Women's Army Corps. That was 1951.
And what did you do in the Women's Army Corps? I'm going to show a picture of you in a tent right now. A picture of you in a tent. And then also, I have a picture also to show. There you are. So what were you doing at that time?
Well, the reason I was in a tent, see, in the Women's Army Corps, we had to take bivouac, and we had to go in the woods and learn how to live in the woods.
Bivouac? What's that?
That's the term they use. They train you up how to live if you're captured or in the woods.
Oh.
Or something, and they had tents out there, and they in the rifle range. We had to learn how to live in the jungles. We'd learn how to shoot, and we'd have evacuations at night. How to walk in the dark so the enemies can't find you. That's why I'm sitting under the pup tent. They train you how to live in the woods.
Oh, okay. And then we also have a picture of you in your uniform.
Oh.
It's a beautiful picture that I saw. You're looking pretty good there.
Yes, I had finished basic training was Fort Lee, Virginia. From there, they sent me to Camp Breckenridge, Kentucky, to the Army School, and tested me, and they found out I could work in an office. And so they trained me to work in the Army Finance Center, where the checks go out. And from Camp Breckenridge, Kentucky, I got sent to St. Louis, Missouri. That's where the center was. And we were assigned to get the checks out to the parents, the soldiers' parents, and to the soldiers and everybody else, all kinds of allotments. And from there, they built a big center in the suburbs of Indianapolis at that Army base called the Army Finance Center, next to the Pentagon. And we were assigned there, and that's where I stayed for the rest of my 3 years in the Women's Army Corps.
Okay. Well, let's get back to when you went into the Army. You served 3 years. And then what happened after you got out of the Army?
Oh, I got discharged February 1954. I went back to Mississippi. My daddy was a sick man, and I visited Dad and Mom. Then I decided to come to California and visit my sister. I had only one sister and one brother, and her husband was in the Navy at Long Beach. And she begged me to stay. That's how I ended up in California.
That's how you got here.
Yes.
Okay. And then there's something you were sharing with me that you worked for the Army Corps of Engineers. Would you please explain what that is?
Oh, yes. See, at first, I was going to school at State College on the GI Bill. Then I worked from 6 to midnight at the postal annex down at the Union Station until I got a job with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. And they were on the 6th floor in the Federal Building downtown next to the postage station, Los Angeles Street. I worked there 21 years.
What
in
did
the
you do?
Survey branch. I would get the maps for them. That's how I got in the AAA Auto Club now. The maps for the surveyors. And in the files, when people would come in for files, I would have to go and get that for them, maps and things like that, helping the surveyors.
Okay, I'm still not clear on what is, when you talked to me earlier, you were describing what the Army Corps of Engineers is or what it does. So would you describe that again?
The Army Corps of Engineers build all the flood-controlled channels and dams here in the state of California and Nevada and Arizona. Our office covered 3 states. And I was in the survey branch, and the surveyors would go out and survey the spot. And then the engineering division would go out and build the dams and the flood control channels and things of that sort.
Okay. Well, I understand also that while you were working for the Army Corps of Engineers, you pulled an all-nighter. You worked all night long one time. And then what happened on your way home after you worked all night long?
I had a freeway accident, and I ran into the off-ramp going to Harbor Freeway at Imperial and busted my head and knocked me out. And when I woke up, I was in Kaiser Hospital out here in Hollywood, Sunset. And it was a white trucker, a truck that rescued me. And when and
Now, you have a story that goes with that. Tell
Yes.
us about this white trucker who rescued you.
Okay, well, I didn't know him until I've spent 3 weeks in Kaiser Hospital out there in Sunset Boulevard, and when I got home, my husband had a report as to who rescued me, and he had the name of the trucker because he had gotten it from the rescue people, the ambulance people, whoever rescued me, and I called this trucker. I said, I got to find out who this was so I can thank him and try to help give him dinner or do something, whatever I can do for him for saving my life. And he can tell me the story as to how it happened. And it was the third call. I got the telephone books out and I find his name in this book and call, no. Did you rescue a black lady on the Harbor Freeway? No. And after the third call that I made, that guy answered, yes, I did. I said, well, I'm that lady. I just got home from Kaiser Hospital. I've been out there for over a week. And I said, and I was trying to find out who saved my life so I can see if I can do something for you. And he said, oh, no. I said, can I treat you to dinner? Oh, no. I'm just glad to know because I've been wondering about you. And blah, blah, blah. And then I said, tell me what happened. And that's when he told me. He said, I was on the curb lane and you was in the second lane. And he said, I began to notice your car to bob and weave a little bit. I slowed my truck back. And that's why you didn't hit nobody. You crossed in front of me and hit the off-ramp goer at Imperial. And he pulled his truck over and he was able to get through. I had my head hit the windshield and busted and I was out. And the doors was locked. But he found a way in, rescued me, called for the ambulance, waited until they came and picked me up to go to hospital. And that's how my husband got his name, from the people that picked him up. And I said, can I really treat you to dinner? I don't have a lot of money, but I want to thank you for saving my... Oh, no, I'm just glad to hear from you. I've been wondering. When I got home, I lived next door to a Negro woman. I lived in Natchez, Mississippi, where I graduated in high school in 48. She came out of Louisiana, and she called the white people hunkies. Them hunkies. And when I got home, instead of going in my house, I went to Juanita's house. And I said, I want...
Juanita is the friend, the neighbor.
friend
Okay, go
that
ahead.
came out of Louisiana that
Okay.
called the white people hunkies.
Okay, go ahead.
And she came to do. I said, Juanita, I just met the man who rescued me on the Harbor Freeway. I said, he was one of your so-called hunkies. I said, let me tell you something. That was a white man, and he was very nice, courteous. He saved my life. And I said, all the black people kept on down the freeway. They didn't try to help me. I said, I don't want to hear that word hunky from you no more.
All right.
I said, no more.
So that was really the story. I really wanted to make sure you told that. By the way, do you remember this man's name?
I don't remember now
Okay,
because the
all
doctors are working on my memory now.
Okay, that's okay. But we're grateful that God spared your life and also that you recognized that this man needed to be treated to some kind of dinner or whatever it is so that you could show your gratitude. So
I've
we
been
thank
helping
you.
people all my life and neglecting Essie Dillon.
Okay, well, today we're giving kudos to Essie Dillon. We're giving honor to whom honor is due. As a matter of fact, in Romans 13, verse 7, we find these words in the New Living Translation. It says, give to everyone what you owe them. Pay your taxes and import duties. And also give respect and honor to all to whom it is due. First of all, I'm giving you thanks for serving in the U.S. Army. and then also working in the U.S. Corps of the Army Corps of Engineers, which we're going to get back to in just a moment. And then you've got another story that you must tell. Okay, so we have some pictures we're going to show right now. We're going to start from picture number 1. And then once that picture goes up of you and your husband, then, okay, we'll start with this one. This first picture is you in high school. Is that correct?
Oh, yes, that's it. That's it.
Okay, both of those. Those your
1948, Natchez, Mississippi.
Okay, high school. Okay, I think I was coming around about that time. Okay, by the way, Essie Dillon doesn't mind sharing her age. She is 87 and a half years old. I didn't even know we counted halves after.
I was born 1929 when the stock markets crashed.
Okay, all right. So that was high school. And then the next picture, you and your husband. Tell us a little about your husband. I really like that story. What you told, how you got this
I'm
husband.
his second wife. He came out of Magnolia, Mississippi, and came to California to get a house, and he got a job to take care of his mother, whose daddy had died. And then when I came to visit my sister, his first wife had died, and they sicked him on to me. They sicked him on to me, and he came to take me to dinner, and I said, I don't have time. I'm going to school, GRBL, working. I don't have time because I had made up my mind. I didn't want no husband. I was 27 years old.
And you didn't want a husband
I didn't
because?
want a husband because I'd seen so many bad marriages, and they fighting and divorces, and the men not helping the women in the homes and all, and the woman had everything on her. I didn't want a husband. I was 27 years old, and he didn't give up. So they said my sister and his sister, I think, sicked him on me.
So when you married him, that first day of work, you said you came home and you gave him some instructions or so? You told him?
Oh, before we got married.
Oh, before you got
no.
married, you told
He
him?
was a barber
Okay.
when he met me, and I said, if I marry you, you got to come out the barber shop and work for the county somewhere where you can get a paid vacation, because I go on vacation every year. I've seen America all through the White House and everywhere else. And I said, watch the Bureau of Engraving and Printing and making the money and everything else. And I said, now you got to come out the barber shop if I marry you. And he said, well, I can't pass the county test. I said, they're not going to test you like they test me. You a good handyman. You work for the county. I said, they're not going to ask you about center structure and like they do me in the office.
Yeah.
And I went and got the test papers for him, brought him back, went over with him, took him back to take the test, and he came out grinning. He passed it.
Okay,
So
you helped him out. He became...
That's right. I told him I go on vacation every year, and if I marry you, you're going to have to be able to have some money to help pay for the trip. And
There's something else I want from you. And this is, you told him that you're not going to work all day and come home.
Yeah, that's right.
Tell that part.
Oh, that part when he didn't give up. He wanted to marry me. I said, I don't want no husband. I'm 27 years old, and I've seen too many bad marriages where the husbands and wives fighting and all that kind of stuff, and he wouldn't get. Well, I wouldn't do that. I said, well, let's talk. And then I told him, I said, if I marry you and I go to work at 8 o'clock in the morning like you on a job so we can have money for vacation, when I come home, I don't want to be the one to cook, wash, iron, housekeep, take care of the babies, and then you come home after 8 hours and turn that TV on and watch them ball games. I said, if you can't help me with the work in the house and in the yard work and stuff, then I don't need no husband. And he said, oh,
Okay.
yes, I will do that. And he was a man of his word. He did it.
Okay, all right. Now, I also know that there was a time when something happened and you ended up writing to President Lyndon Johnson.
Oh,
so
yes.
tell us what brought about that.
That was when I was still in the state of Mississippi.
Okay.
And I was a teenager, and we could not vote. The black folks could only do cooking for the people, the housekeeping, the dirty jobs, and you couldn't get no office jobs. And this was a white senator trying to get reelected when they vote. It was time for him to vote for him to be reelected. And we knew we couldn't vote, but we were hanging around to hear the conversation. We see what's going on. And he made this statement, told all the white people, if you vote for me, I will keep the darkies down. And I said, now this is one darky you won't keep down. And then I made a motto not to equal, but to excel. And after we had visited Martin Luther King down there in Alabama and went to his house and they killed him, and you know the story of Martin Luther King and all of that, I said I have to give honor to whom honor's due. And after all of the activity in Montgomery, Alabama and around, and the killings, President Kennedy
Yes.
was the president of the USA, and Lyndon B. Johnson was his assistant.
Vice President.
Vice President. They shot President Kennedy in Dallas and killed him. Then President Lyndon B. Johnson became the president of the USA. He was in office, and that's who signed the documents for the black people to get their rights.
The Civil Rights Movement. Okay.
And when he did that, I give honor to whom honor's due, like the Bible says. And I wrote him a letter to the White House and thanked him. I said, President Johnson, I want to thank you for helping us get our civil rights. And I told him I was born in the state of Mississippi. I said, grew up where we didn't have any rights. And ever since I heard the late white Senator Bilbo say on the courthouse steps in Meadville, Mississippi, that if you vote for me, I will keep the darkness down. I have prayed ever since that day that one day we would be judged by the contents of our hearts and not the color of our skin. I say, and you being a white man from the southern segregated state of Texas to come to our rescue means all the world to me. And I want to thank you. And I mailed it to him in the White House. And in about 2 weeks, I got a response from President Johnson. It was handwritten. I guess he wrote it. And he was saying how happy he was to do that for us. And he thanked,
Okay. All right. Well, I have some more pictures that I want to share. And so at this time now, if you'll put up another picture, then here is a commendation from the Department of the Army. And then if you put up a picture where she's getting commendations from, there's someone shaking her hand or standing there with her in the picture. If you'll put that, yeah. Okay, tell us about that one.
Oh, that's at the Army Corps of Engineers.
Okay.
And I was in the survey branch. And my supervisor was a white lady. And the man, the colonel that you're looking at there, he's over everybody at the Army Corps of Engineers. See?
Okay, so he's giving you a commendation for your service.
That's right. My supervisor recommended me. See, each year, if they wanted somebody to be accommodated, the supervisor had to recommend you. So I had a white supervisor, and she recommended me. Because everything they tell me to do, I do my best.
Okay,
See?
so we're going to share another picture where you're being commended for your service there.
He replaced that colonel, the black colonel. And then there's my white supervisor. She recommended me again, and he gave me another award at the end of that year.
Okay, and then you have some different plaques. You'll have one where it came from the county of their awards that have nothing but words on it. But here's a commendation from the county of Los Angeles.
The commendations from
from the county of Los Angeles. Okay, so it looks like maybe that one came from Yvonne Braithwaite.
Oh, I see what you're talking about. I see it now. Yes. Yes. See, I have worked with the Neighborhood Watch ever since I moved in that house in 1970, the school and the Neighborhood Watch. And we always have a lead police officer and someone from downtown that's over our area. They always come to our meeting, our Neighborhood Watch meetings. And at that time, she was over us. She was covering our area.
Oh, okay.
And so, and she come to our meetings and everything. We would get aboard, and we feed the police officers once a year.
Okay, all right. We're going to go to the next picture. The next award, we have one from, this is Los Angeles. This is the district. It looks like your district of the Army Corps of Engineers. Is that when you retired that they gave you a plaque?
Oh, they give me a plaque. I can't see it.
Okay, that's okay if you can't see it, but you
Oh.
got an award from the Los Angeles Regional Army Corps of Engineers.
Oh, yes, they give me awards. Yes, Army Corps of Engineers.
Okay,
And I got it.
and now we got another one, which is from Councilwoman Janet.
Janet Hahn.
Yeah, Janet Hahn. Okay, and so that came from her because of your service.
And she was over our area in Los Angeles, that area. She was the councilwoman over that area. And she would come to our meetings, and we eat. I sit down and eat with her, eat with my councilmen.
Okay, so it sounds like you have had a very colorful life.
Well,
From Mississippi's cotton fields all the way to Los Angeles, California, and not to mention the Army and all the other places
And
you've
speaking
been.
of the Army, when I got discharged in 1954, the colonel, I was in the suburbs of Indianapolis at Fort Harris, and the colonel shook my hand and he said, "Miss Kelly," that's my maiden name, "you have done an excellent job, even to throwing away Lieutenant's car keys." Because the lieutenant didn't bring me home. He stopped on the road when the clubs closed, and I just pulled the switch key out. He stopped on the road, and then I started walking. I said, "I got to get out of here," because I walk on in, because we had to sign out in the inn on the weekends, and it was a white guy on the gate. It was midnight. The clubs had closed, and he just pulled over the side and parked. And I said, "I can't sit here on this road." And so I said, "Let me out," because I was in walking distance. And I started walking. They caught up with me about an hour because he had brought my boyfriend from Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, to visit her. And she got me out of bed to come and keep him company because he had put on civilian clothes and come to our club because he's an officer and he wasn't supposed to be there. And so when the club closed, let's go downtown St. Louis and get some soul food. Coming back, park on the side of the road. Okay? And I said, "I can't sit here and the police come give me a ticket." And I said, "May I get out? I'm in walking distance." And I start walking. They caught up with me in an hour, about 2 blocks. And get in. And my girlfriend, she's still living in Philadelphia. "Come on in." I said, "Come on in. You don't have to walk." Instead of turning for us to sign in, he kept on up the hill. I said, "Where are you going now?" "Get some gas." "Get some gas." The gas station closed. Come back down. He was supposed to make a left turn in for us to go sign in. It was about 12:30, almost 1 a.m. And he kept going straight ahead. And I said, I ain't gonna play this, So I just reached over and turned off the ignition and pulled the keys out. And I said, "Nah, it's got to stop in walking distance."
Okay, well, even the commendation that you received for throwing away officers' keys. But nevertheless, I want to give you, to publicly thank you, Sister Essie Dillon, for your service, not only to our country, but your service to churches, to the body of Christ, to your neighborhood, to the county of Los Angeles, and all the different places where you have given of yourself. I pray that God will continue to bless you and keep you in good health and good spirits, and that He will make sure that you know that it's only by His grace that He's kept you. That's the only way. And so if you have one last thing to say, one word, just one, what would that one word be that you would say to the Lord for what He's done for you these 87 and a half years? What's that?
Thank you, Jesus.
Thank you, Jesus. That's all we need right now
But
as we close.
You didn't want to hear nothing about the church.
No, don't want to hear anything about the church. We're about out of
I'm the
time,
last
but we're
one
giving
alive
God
that
the
brought
thanks
over there.
for all that He's done. So may the God. Thank you so much,
thank you.
everyone, for listening. May the good news bless your heart. Remember, Jesus loves you, and I'm praying for you. And you have a blessed day. He,
Amen.
no matter how long it takes in coming, you wait on that blessing because He's an on-time God.
Brought
Yes,
me-
He is.
Brought me from a